at the reception.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, and you're listening to the Two Mics on talkSPORT. We'll keep you entertained throughout the night. Last night we said the world would be a different place once all the votes have been counted in America. So far, the only thing that's changed is what the new president-elect is saying and how he's saying it.
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. We have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people. It's time. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country.
What happened to this guy?
We will build a great wall along the southern border. And Mexico will pay for the wall. 100%.
100%. There was no talk of locking up Hillary. There was no talk of deporting illegal aliens. There was no talk of immigration being clamped down on. There was no talk of banning Muslims. What's happened to Donald Trump? He's gone through the presidential ringer and he's come out the other side to go to the White House later on today. Could actually nothing really have changed? 08717 22 3344. Coming up, we'll be going over to the USA to gauge the latest temperature of the nation. We'll be talking, of course, a bit about the Scotland-England game coming up on Friday. And it's Porky Vision tonight as well, the best TV review this side of the Mississippi Delta. You're listening to the Two Mics with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on talkSPORT. This is talkSPORT. We are the Two Mics, and I'm delighted to say that after our marathon show last night, which went down very, very well indeed, it's time to say a very good morning to a brave new world of Mr. Mike Porky Parry.
Yeah, good morning, Mike.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about my back in a minute, because that went just before the show last night.
I don't care about your back. I'm not interested about your back. We've got a new president of the United States of America.
Yeah, I know.
A whole new wave of populist movements taking place all over the world.
True.
We're not going to talk about your back.
Well, we will a bit later on, because just before I came in the studio last night, my back went. I was in agony, but I didn't say anything because of the importance of the programme that we have to get through, and the fact that they're electing a new president.
What a wonderful man you are.
And a new leader of the free world. I decided to keep quiet about my back. I suffered in silence.
So now you're going to make up for it by going on about it all night.
Well, I'll tell you about it a bit later. But listen,
you're basically a wreck, aren't you?
So dramatic. Well, I was feeling the pace a bit, I suppose. But so dramatic a night, unbelievable. And do you know, we hit certain things on the head. Well, at least I did, anyway.
Did you?
I said, for instance, you know what? The American people have already broken one glass ceiling. They have had, for the first time ever, a American president of African origin, and he was there for 8 years.
You mean a black president?
Yes, absolutely. And that was a major step forward since the country was inaugurated as a country in 1770 and all that kind of stuff.
1776.
Yeah, absolutely. 1770s, if you'd listen.
1776. I just made it a bit more specific.
Yeah, if you'd stop interrupting, I could tell the people what they want to know.
If I didn't interrupt you, it would just be one long, screed of consciousness, which wouldn't make any sense.
That finally, of course, healed the wounds of the American Civil War, 1860 to 65. You happy with that? Is that all right? Yeah?
Why are you talking about the Civil War?
Because it healed the wounds from the Civil War.
You said last night there would be another Civil War.
There. Anyway, listen, what I also said was I didn't think they would break the glass ceiling again and have a first woman president immediately after Obama. I was proved right. Okay?
Okay.
The
most important thing for you is that you've been proven right once in a while, isn't it? Isn't that the most important thing?
I also said that the problem that Hillary Clinton had was that she was coming after a great orator in President Obama.
Orator.
Yes, that's right, who was a terrific orator.
Orator.
And who whipped up crowds and delivered, the policies in such a smooth and silky fashion.
Which policies?
And the policies that Mr. Obama tried to implement.
I was talking to somebody about this already.
Yeah.
What were the policies that Mr. Obama introduced?
He never delivered any.
Well, he didn't really.
The only one he delivered.
Obamacare.
I know, Obamacare, but that sort of creaked through after about 7 years. And remember his famous quote was, what you are seeing is change. You are witnessing change.
Yeah.
This is what change looks like, okay? But nothing changed. And anyway, and
Well,
what
it
I'm
did
saying,
change. It just got a lot more expensive.
yeah, it got a lot more expensive, a lot more complicated. And then, of course, Hillary was up against another great orator who was Donald Trump,
Yeah.
who was magnificent at the way he delivered, his policies. That he detailed,
He looked
of
to be
course.
taking a few Xanax on the way to the
he-
stage to make his acceptance speech at 3:30 in the morning.
His
didn't he?
acceptance speech was remarkable because, you see, what happened was the markets were going down thinking, this guy's a loony and he's going to wreck world markets and all that. The minute he said, now is not the time for division, now we must unite as a country, the minute he said that, markets started going up again because they thought, actually, this guy might turn out just to be a responsible president.
And there were a few people in the room who were still shouting, lock her up.
That's right,
and
lock her
build
up.
the wall.
But
he, for some reason, seems to have moved away from all that.
Oh, he doesn't even recognise that language anymore.
Yeah.
And the only one policy which he repeated, or has repeated since he became president, is that the tax base is too big, and cutting taxes always stimulates economies.
Yeah.
So,
well, he does want to make America great again. There is that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's his main plank of policy. Plank being the operative word.
Yes. So I think all in all it was, but it was so dramatic and so exciting. Now you got a bit upset because it took Hillary Clinton so long to respond.
That's right.
To his victory speech.
Very bizarre scenes last night where at the Jacob Javits Centre, which you know probably as well as I do, way over on the West Side Highway.
Absolutely.
A place where they have a lot of conventions, a place where they occasionally do big concerts and things like that. Suddenly at 2:00, this guy appears, who was part of the Clinton sort of campaign team, and said, we haven't got anything else to say at this point. We're still going. Hillary's still fighting.
That's right. She's not finished yet.
She's not finished yet. When in fact everybody pretty much knew that she was finished. And, she just didn't appear, which I thought was showed fairly bad form, I have to say, because she should have at least turned up and said, I don't want to give up yet because, we're still counting the votes and every vote counts is what that guy said.
That's right.
But instead, she didn't then turn up and then Trump, of course, made his, she then went and phoned Donald Trump and congratulated him.
That's
so
right.
she knew that it was over.
Yeah.
So this nonsense about we're still fighting, because it was literally an hour later that she made the call, right?
I have just heard from Secretary Clinton.
Secretary Clinton, who fought a great fight and all that. But, I mean, she must have known at 2 a.m. that it was done.
Yeah, of course she did.
But
Yeah.
she let all of her supporters, who had been waiting there for hours and hours and hours, just sit there thinking she was going to turn up.
That's right.
And then, later on the next day, when he's already made his acceptance speech, 3:30 in the morning their time, she waits until something like 11 o'clock.
That's right.
Before bothering to get out of her hotel, take a sort of motorcade across to another hotel, and announce that, she's lost.
That's right.
I just thought it was very bad form.
Very bad form indeed.
And I
totally agree.
tweeted out, actually, it was a pretty shabby way to end a political career.
Shabby. I see the President-elect, Mr. Trump, Donald Trump, is on his way to the White House today.
Is,
that would be fascinating.
It will.
Can you imagine him swaggering around, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, because he is a swaggerer, swaggering around the White House.
With
and
Melania, the new First Lady.
Yeah, Melania, the new First Lady, who speaks in that broken English, thing.
There's some doubt, by the way, as to how she entered the country. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did, yeah. And by the way, that doesn't make her in any way a bad person.
Not
because
at all.
Henry Kissinger, who's probably the most famous... Kissinger, the most famous American politician after a president since the Second World War.
Yes. I couldn't believe he was still alive. I saw somebody
about
on...
92, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, somebody on one of the talk shows today
Yes.
was saying that, Trump needs to surround himself with some really good people. He rolled off a list of names, including Henry Kissinger.
Henry Kissinger, I know, yeah. And,
I spoke to him once,
Did you?
Yeah, I rang him up and he had an office down by Centre Court down in, downtown Manhattan.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And I can't remember what it was for, but I was trying to get an interview with him. And he actually answered the phone himself.
Really?
And you knew it was him. It's Henry Kissinger.
This is Kissinger.
Yeah,
but he talked with a German accent because he was German.
Well, yeah.
And
that would be one reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what I'm saying is, so many American icons, Henry Kissinger, Arnold Schwarzenegger, always spoke with
Arnold Schwarzenegger's Austrian, of course.
Austrian accent. I was going to say Hungarian there for a minute, but Austrian is
well, it's not that different.
It's not that different. And now the new First Lady will speak with a pronounced accent.
Slovenian, I believe.
Slovenian.
Right?
But that's a good thing, because it means that they are an embracing country.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It doesn't make her a bad person.
But there is
at
a
all.
certain irony to people speaking with a slight European accent, talking about cutting back on immigration.
Yeah, of course there is, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, it's the usual thing, and we have it in this country as well, that when people who are immigrants get here and decide this is a great country, they then actually decide, don't let anybody else come in case they wreck this great country that I now live in.
Because, they're criminals. They're not the best.
That's right.
I mean, that was one of his other great speeches, the Mexicans that come here, they're not the best.
There's some bad hombres hombres.
Yeah, some of them bring drugs.
Yeah.
You know, they're rapists.
The bad hombres, yeah, and all that kind
He's
of stuff.
no mention of any of that last night.
No, exactly.
So now he's going to try and convince everybody that he is the new Donald Trump, presumably.
Right.
That was all a bit of a laugh, and it was all a bit of a reality TV show. And now he's going to rule with a sort of what can only be described as calmness, and
exactly,
and lots of cross-party conversations.
I thought the body language of the Clinton family last night was fantastic because, this morning, wasn't it? Because yesterday morning, because there she was standing at the front, looking like she'd won rather than lost, which is great political sort of nous and all that. Although she can't even, she can't deliver a speech, that's why she didn't win. But there's Bill behind her, looking like a naughty schoolboy, and his tongue sort of almost sort of hanging out because what Bill fancied was being the first husband to attract a lot more totty.
Right. And he probably thought that she'd be very busy.
Oh, exactly.
Now she's got nothing to do.
No, exactly.
So he's got no chance of getting out of the house.
Oh, well, I think the marriage is over. Because, I mean,
Well, somebody did say last night, didn't they? Do you think she'll divorce him?
Well,
I don't think so.
Surely now she's going to say, for 40 years, Bill, I've had to put up with your philandering. For 40 years, we've been a political machine, and that's why I've ignored it. For 40 years, I've denied rumours of people like Barbara Streisand coming to the White House when I've been away on business and all that. And for 40 years, I've had to suffer the humiliation of everybody in the world knowing that you were dropping your trousers in an instant to please yourself with women and all this kind of stuff, which is all true, by the way. And now, Bill, I've decided that I don't want any more of that.
No, I don't see it. People don't do that after 40 years. They just don't.
I think she might, because they're both now filthy rich, by the way. It's another thing that Donald Trump didn't mention last night. He didn't say, we're going to investigate the Clinton Foundation.
No, exactly.
Where did they get $150 million from?
I mean, she also said that she's told Donald that she's more than happy to help him.
That's right,
to work with him. The work with him to try and improve the country. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, well, I think that means, don't put me in jail, please, because I'd like to sort of, be diplomatic and work alongside you.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might find.